Okay, we're here to take a look at a few things to help you play Quatrix well and help you get a leg up on defeating your opponent. Okay, if you haven't already gone to the tutorials, take a look at YouTube and tap in Quatrix board game, and you should have a couple of tutorials pop up there. You can take a look at whichever one you want, the long or the short version. And it might also help you to go to our website, playquatrix.com, for some additional information, links, and whatnot. So we'll start off real quick here with the opening, and then go to the mid game and on game, and help you try to figure out how to play the game well, how to strategize, and how to get the most enjoyment from Quatrix. First, we'll do the ring disc positioning, then some mid-board block and defensive positioning, and then how to protect your pieces when moving down the board. Real quick, real simple, real easy. Okay, so let's say we have let's say it's a 3 and a 1 roll. You could move your ring 3 and your disc 1, but why do that? Why not move the ring 1 and the disc 3? Well, here's why. Because as you separate your discs from your rings, as you learned in the tutorial, and move them down the board, you're going to be forced to place them in the midcourt on 6 and 1s and 5 rolls and what have you. You're going to wind up something like this. And when you have a position like that, your rings are out front here, subject to being popped by your opponent's disc, right? So if you're going to have pieces out front, why not just have it this way? Why not just have your discs out front and your rings in the back here? And then you can, as the rolls go on, you can just back up your discs and reassemble your pieces like this. Because obviously, as you know, the discs are not subject to being popped, right? So it's logical not to float these things out, 3 or 4 of them. And you got to keep track of them. You got to keep track of what's going on here. And they're all vulnerable. So better off this way, okay? And number 2, I found out that it's better to start out with trying to put together some kind of a defensive block in your own court here. Something like something like this, or something like this. Maybe if you're lucky, you can have something looking like this. Okay. And what this does is it forces your opponent into a posture that is defensive, because obviously, as you know from the rules, you can't hop a pip. A pip is a block anywhere on the board, right? And you can hop on any rank and file, but the only thing you can't hop is your opponent's intact piece inside a piece, right? So what you invariably wind up doing is forcing your opponent around the side here in order to get through, right? Let's just say this guy's here. And what you do is, as he comes through with his rings and discs, you park your disc right here, or maybe here, who knows, up here. And as he comes through with his ring, you have a good percentage chance of being able to pop him back to his home track. Okay, back to jail there. And then you're ahead by that many moves, that aggregate of however many moves it took him to get across and to get around and up there, right? And your goal is to try to keep these pieces in the center of the board as long as you can, as long as it seems to be working. You want to keep your pieces here and try to make sure that you control the action, right? So that's a very important strategic point, if possible. Of course, it's not always possible. The dice don't always allow you to do what you want to do. Because the dice control the game, right? You don't control them, the dice do. And so that's tip number 2. If you could always try to find some kind of defensive posturing there, forcing your opponent into a certain type of behavior that you're ready to defend and offend against. Okay? Now don't forget, if you want to protect your pieces as they move down the board, the way to do that is with your pips, right? Because this position here does not allow this disc to hit this ring, right? Because you got your block right here. And that's simple and that's obvious. And that is a way that you can move down the board, protecting your piece from getting pop back to your home track, okay? Very simple, just something to bear in mind. All right? Let's go to the mid-game.